today is another step in a long process. As you know, about 3 years ago, the East-West Parkway was not here. And you also need to know that Mr. Crowder, working with DOT and the City of Anderson, allowed us to upgrade the East-West Parkway, to put in the bike lanes and to add extra landscaping on that. In following up on Mr. Crowder's desire to make this something special, which it already is something special, he has allocated over $100,000 for the development of this park.
And when it's completed, the East-West Parkway Park will be the 38th park in our county park system, and the area to my right will include a playground with swings, climbers, and other fun stuff. We'll also have picnic tables and bathrooms here. Also, this park is going into a part of the county that currently doesn't have a county park, so it'll bring another amenity to residents and visitors to Anderson County.
It is a great day in Anderson, South Carolina, and before I go any further, I just want to commend y'all on the job that you've already done. I don't know how many of you actually use the connector, but I was actually on it 4 different times yesterday, and when I'm in town, I use it almost daily. And much like Mr. Brill just said, when you go down the connector, people are out there jogging, and I hate those people because I don't run, and it always makes me feel guilty, but they're walking their dogs, they're walking their children, and my favorite is always seeing the parents on their bicycles with the children, on their little bicycles with the training wheels behind them, the older gentleman sitting on the bench, and it just always, to me, it's just a reflection of who we are as a community. And so I just commend you on the job that you've already done. This is a great idea to come here and put a parking lot because it protects our citizens. And I love the idea of a park because certainly that's a quality of life issue. And as all of you know that are standing here today, quality of life issues are vital to economic development. And this is a great building block for Anderson. And lastly, I just want to say that today represents what government is supposed to look like. It's about different levels of government coming together to work together to better our communities. So with that in mind, if you guys would like to come up, I would just like to say, on behalf of the state of South Carolina and the Department of Recreation and Tourism, and on behalf of the efforts of the Anderson County delegation, we hereby present to the county $425,000. It's always our pleasure to work with you, and I look forward to the great things we're going to do in the future.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate this. You notice he didn't let me, I thought I could fold it. Well, certainly the Honorable Ann Thayer, we appreciate you being the bearer of such wonderful gifts from Columbia. And we appreciate our legislative delegation who comes up to bat and hits a home run because many times we feel like maybe the upstate of South Carolina doesn't get its fair share of a return on the investment that we make. Seems like the low country gets a lot of attention and around Columbia, but this is a wonderful manifestation. Like Mr. Burns has already said, keep in mind 6 years ago, a good group of people who felt like that the East-West Connector was going to be deleterious or harmful to the environment. We had people from Upstate Forever and other organizations that stepped forward and ultimately joined forces with us in agreeing that the East-West Connector was a good idea once SCDOT agreed to the additional plannings that they had not included in their budget. I'm also thankful to Mr. Rusty Burns and his staff for continually cutting the walking trail and riding trail of the East-West Parkway. I know I have a lot of people that ask me, well, why do you all just cut down there where the walking trail is and the benches? Is because we have no control over the distance from that to the road. That's under South Carolina DOT. So that might be a trivia thing you might want to think about. But thank you for this phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 that we were able to fund. Regrettably, we only have a limited amount of funds that we can use out of the county's budget, so we could only do phase 1, which is really phase 3 of the project. And Mr. Burns was sharp enough to talk with the delegation and ask them could they come up with the additional money, and due to the conversations, that money is now soon going to be deposited in the county's funds, and we can do all 3 phases together. And so we're grateful, and we're grateful to those of you who make this possible, because we all are involved in what's being done. I would, in conclusion, like to announce today that we will be adding additional solar paneled street lights to the east-west connector. I was able to fund the initial 6, I believe it was, out of a small amount of money that a district's given. And they are located where the benches were that we also installed, and poop bags and poop collectors. We're a poop-friendly community. Yeah, that's a big deal. But anyway, we will be having some additional lights down there. And last but not least, we'll also be installing 2 or 3 lights over at the Brown Road Park, which is also in District 1, so that people who fish on the pier that was made available, that they can stay a little later and not have to collapse their family time. You know, a family hates to get started on a picnic, and because it turns dark, they can't finish and have quality of time. So we hope to make that available. And so I thank you, Mr. Burns, and your staff for making this possible.
Thank you, Mr. Crowder.
Thank you, sir.
No, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you for your wisdom and guidance.
Thank you.
And thank you very much, Anderson County Legislative Delegation. You take the $425,000 we received today, plus the over $100,000 that Mr. Crowder has cobbled together, and then you add the initial lighting and the lighting that he had approved last night. It's going to end up being a $600,000 project. But just before we break ground here, I want to bring Natasha up, and I want to bring that gentleman right there, who might as well be the county contractor. He keeps getting our bids. Natasha, would you like to say a word?
Well, I'm Natasha Sexton with SGA Architecture. We had the privilege of working on the design for this project, and I'm just thrilled to see it finally break ground. It's going to be a wonderful asset for the citizens of Anderson County and for Park and Rec throughout the area. So thank you for the opportunity.
Mr. Moat, you got to say something.
Okay. Russell Moats, the Moats Construction Incorporated. We're happy to be out here today to see this project to completion. Happy to see the funding approved for the remainder of the project, and we hope we do a good job for not only the county but the citizens and the community.
And if I could ask you 2 and you 3 to grab a shovel, we're going to throw dirt that way. All right, we're going to count to 3. We've prayed over the park, we've blessed it, and now we're going to get busy. 1, 2, 3.
Well, we actually going to have a walking trail that's going to be from AmMed all the way over to the Civic Center, and this is a connecting point here. We're going to have a place where families can take a rest, go to the bathroom. If they want to park their car and bring a picnic, they'll be able to enjoy a picnic. And it will also be surrounded by wonderful landscaping so that we can maintain the beauty and the ambiance of the area. We want people to be able to be proud of Anderson County, that we're just not some podunk county that doesn't care about its citizens and the families that are trying to maintain the quality of life. Well, I was passionate about it. You'll remember 5.5 years ago, the citizens wanted to revolt against having the East-West Parkway 4 lanes. And I saw the need that Anderson was going to grow, but we needed to grow in an orderly fashion. So thank goodness DOT was willing to meet with us over at the Civic Center, and they laid out all the plans, because I'm a great believer that if you involve people and give them the correct information, so much of people's attitude is formulated based on misinformation. So it was 200 to 400 people out there that day, and people began to ask questions, and we answered questions. And believe it or not, the people who were opposed to it over weeks began to merge to think, well, it might be a good thing. And today I have numerous people, it don't matter where I go, they say, you know, I really enjoy riding up and down that East-West Parkway. Ladies will say, you know, I go up it 4 or 5 times a day. I don't know what I do. People would say, well, I was opposed to it, but now I don't know how I could live without it. My real concern is, you'll recall that we, council approved what's called an East-West Parkway overlay, which would hopefully keep this not commercial like Clemson Boulevard. And so I'm fearful that future council members may not share that same idea of maintaining that kind of quality of life and ambience, and allow developers to come in and make this just another busy highway that people can't have access from one side of the city to the other side without too many stops. So I just don't personally, Francis Crowder, do not want or desire that this become just another strip area that will defeat the real purpose of the quality of life issues that we hold so dearly.